Hello, 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 everybody. It's Dr. Sasheen. Welcome to Tuesday Tea Break. I am your host, your guide, your tea drinker. If tea is your thing, if tea is not your thing, whatever you're drinking, it's totally fine. Welcome to the party. As always, this is a live, so we're going to take it as it comes. Spend 30 minutes hanging out in a drama-free, stress-free, hopefully, but sometimes we talk about some things. If you're new to the party, please say hello in the comments, whether you're catching me on the live or the replay. Let us know where you're coming from and what you're doing and what you're drinking today. I am getting the tea ready. The kettle is back there. As you know, if you hang out with me on Tuesdays, it's a live kettle. It's burbling in the background. I tip the spout so it doesn't whistle, on camera. But otherwise, you would hear it whistling. So, all right. So today we're actually trying a new tea. Let's make sure that I'm live because YouTube doesn't always tell me that I'm live, which is weird. You think they would tell me of all people. It is absolutely my channel. You think they would tell me that I'm live, but they don't always. So let's go out here and check and just make sure. Hey, I am live because Cicely just said, hey, thank you. At least lets me know that I am alive and in color. And there I am on YouTube. There we go. Hey, I saw your text and I definitely will check out that video. So thank you. All right, let me plug this phone back in because it's up to down. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully you had a good weekend. You've probably been up for a while. You've gotten through a Monday, y'all. It's a Monday. And now we're into Tuesday. And we're going to take a little break together and we're going to spend a little time chit-chatting and just enjoying some tea. So this morning we're going to try a new tea. If you're on my channel, if you subscribe to my channel, you saw a couple days ago, maybe it was yesterday, that I tried an English tea, which was absolutely blue. It was so cool. It was this beautiful, beautiful shade of blue when as I was brewing it and I was watching it change color. I was like, wow, it's gorgeous. So as inspiration, I thought, well, you know what? It's fascinating to me how the colors of so many natural things are where we get the colors of so many things from, right? Hang on a minute, because the tea is brewing. So before we get too deeply into it, this morning we're doing a cherry blossom green tea. And I think these are sachets. They are sachets. Already little sachets made up for me. Perfect. Okay. So, oh, that smells so good. Oh my gosh, that smells amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay. What are we drinking this morning, Cicely? Is it coffee? Is it tea? Is it water with some lemon or lime in it? What's going on over there? All right, as I'm threading a tea bag around the kitty cat this morning and making sure it doesn't fall in so it sits right there on top. I love tea tins too. I will be collecting. So I have these two now. I never throw away tins because you can always use a tin for something, right? Always can use a tin for something. In fact, I remember I bought this tin of butter cookies from Whole Foods like last year, which was funny because I don't necessarily like cookies all that much, but I bought the tin because I remember growing up that our butter cookie tins had stuff in them. And I was like, oh, I need a tin just about that size. So I bought the butter cookie tin and then I gave all the cookies away and I kept the tin. I'm a big tin. I like tins. They're usually pretty. They're usually a good size. They stack well in places together. They kind of fit in nicely together and they last. They really just last. Italian coffee with, oh, ooh, nice. I should become more of a coffee drinker. I just don't know that it's going to happen at this point in my life. All right, let's steep some tea. Let's see what's happening with our cherry blossom green this morning. Put you right up to the top. Okay. So while that's steeping, as I was saying, I was looking at that beautiful blue English pea yesterday. And, it's an interesting reminder of how much of the natural world shows up in our everyday, and we just don't remember it anymore. But on YouTube, on occasion, I will get dropped into dyeing YouTube, which is, not dying as in people dying, but um, making dyes, making colors out of various material. And I will get sucked into a documentary or something about color. And I love color. I love colorful things. And I mean, color, right? For some people it's neutrals. For me, it's bright, vibrant colors. And so as I was looking at the deep blue of my tea, I was like, I wonder what this was used for. Like I'm sure that somewhere someone long before I noticed this beautiful tea, right, had probably brewed themselves a pot of tea and saw that beautiful rich color come out of the tea leaves and went, how can I use that? Like the ingenious brain of people to look at nature and go, not how can I destroy it, because you obviously can use the pea leaf for all kinds of things, but how can I use this to create something beautiful? As you're drinking your tea, you're like, this is beautiful color. How can I use this beautiful color? And all of a sudden you've got dyeing. You've got beautiful fabrics with beautiful colors just infused in them. Oh, beets. I mean, of color the shading from beets is fantastic. It's fantastic. So like I said, sometimes I get dropped down the well in YouTube, because you watch one video and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you like this? Let me show you 900 people who are also using who are also using various things to dye as dye mechanisms. So if you saw that yesterday and you saw that lovely blue color, just know I went down the rabbit hole, as I always do. And I found so many great videos of people making colorful dyes out of so many different and interesting things, and then taking those colors and using them to then color things. It was just a rabbit hole. And it was a joyful rabbit hole because I love color. I love fabrics. I love textiles. I love all kinds of things. Okay, my chat's moving, so hang on, y'all. Good morning. Oh, wait, you've got a different handle, the Martian chick, but I know that face. How are you this morning? Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Hope you're feeling good today. Um, if you're just joining, we're doing a cherry blossom tea, green tea. It smells amazing. This thing needs like smell-o-vision so that we can smell, because you can't really get the true gist of this. But I was talking about the tea I brewed yesterday, which was that that pea leaf tea that turned this amazing shade of blue. This one's going to be green because it's a green tea, and green tea tend to stay green, but it smells pretty darn fantastic. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, yeah, that smells amazing. So I'm going to let that steep, and we'll keep moving right along. Hang on a second, guys. Ladies, I made a small mess here with some water, so let me wipe the counter down. There we go. Okay. So because I tend to go down these rabbit holes, right? And this week's theme on Thursday, the video is all about joy. I was thinking about the rabbit holes of tea, and which got me thinking about the parts of the world, right, where so many things are come from. And then yesterday was a holiday here in the United States. If you're in the United States, it was a holiday. If you're not, then it does not pertain. Don't worry about it. But there was a holiday, and so I was talking to my son about the holiday itself and why the holiday was on the books. If you don't know, it was used to be called Columbus Day. Now it's called Indigenous Peoples Day. It's one of those days that shouldn't even be on the books if you know the history of the actual day itself. But I digress. Anyway, so as we're talking about just the origins and of who this person was, and what really happened and how did we get here. One of the things I try to do when I make that teaching moment for my kiddo is say, okay, so there's the history that they want you to know about in the history books, but then there's also this other kind of history, right? So we were talking it through, and we got to talking about the spice trade. And right, so dyeing and spice, all of this starts to go hand in hand, because so much of the spices that we love don't come from where we stand. They do now, but even now they are still coming in from other places. So much of what we take for granted as wonderful additions to our lives that were brought here or came here from other places. So we got to talking about the fact that we use a ton of turmeric root. It's one of my favorite spices. I have turmeric root. I have saffron. Listen, y'all, saffron doesn't get broken out a lot because that is one expensive bottle. But we use a lot of turmeric, especially in uh, in our fish dishes and we put it in rice a lot. So it makes this yellow rice. My son will tell you that he likes yellow rice, and it's because it's got turmeric root in it. But anyway, we got to talking about things like turmeric and black pepper and just peppers in general. Black peppers, um, and just random things. And my son's like, so what do we do here? Like, what did we what was already what you because he's we've done some of the study um of the indigenous peoples who were here long before the people who bumped into islands showed up. And so we talked about the corn and the potatoes and all of the great things that were already here that we take for granted, that that we enjoy and that we embrace. So I know this is going to sound jumbled, but I promise there's a point here. As we are just perusing through leisurely history of spices and trade, um, and all of the stuff that has moved around, and we started looking through our cupboard at all of the stuff, all the spices that we have in our cupboard. I need to get me an indigenous people shirt. I don't have one. Saffron is so aromatic, and it's so expensive. So expensive. I had a friend who went to um, Marrakesh 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Yeah, about 11 years ago. And so she brought me saffron back when she went to Morocco, Marrakesh area. She brought me some back from her trip. And I like use it so sparingly because I don't want to run out because it's so expensive, right? Like I don't want to run out, and I don't want to use it. A little bit of saffron goes a long way, but I had just a few strands left, but hopefully one day I'll get. I don't know why it's different, but that saffron that she brought me from Morocco was so much more potent than the saffron that I had purchased previously when I could afford to purchase it. I haven't purchased it very many times um, because it is fairly expensive. Anyway, all that to say, I know I'm meandering today, but that's kind of what these little tea times is about. So I say to my son, the world has changed in so many amazing ways. After we got through the hard history, because if you're talking about indigenous people, say in Columbus and the conquistadors, you talk hard history too. But we also talked about, okay, so what else came from that time period? And that's when we got to talking about the spices. And then we were looking at the dyeing and the colors and all the vibrancies that have come from our interactions with other cultures, right? Our connections and our bumping into other cultures. And it was just a great conversation. And it was a conversation that was hard sometimes because we had to talk about enslavement of peoples, and that conquistadors weren't really adventurers, they were really colonizers with a fancy name. Like we had to get through those conversations, but at the same time we also got to talk about the fact that in our connections now with people, we are given the opportunity to drink things like cherry blossom green tea because we don't grow tea in this country. We import teas from other places, and the roots that were taken so many years ago to bring those things around the globe are still in place. And we are the beneficiaries of some of those roots. Now, how those roots got established is problematic, but we are the beneficiaries of those roots, and we enjoy the luxuries of things like tea in a tin in a kitchen in Kansas because the roots are still in existence, because the relationships are still there, and because the trade is still there. So, it's hard sometimes when we're in the transition of life and something is going, unfortunately, not well, Columbus Day, and you have to, we have to reckon with the fact that The world is really messy, and we are the recipients of the crap, but we're also the recipients of the joy. And that's what I want to talk about today. Watch out for the next 15 or so minutes. Where are you finding your joy this week? Where are you finding it? I told my son, so I said, listen, we're going to keep on this theme of people changing the world. And I broke out this book, which I've had, I can't even tell you how many years, so many years. Anyway, so I collect, I guess we call them coffee table books. When I was growing up, there were always books on the coffee table, and they were usually some kind of photo book of some kind. So I collect them as well. I have a stack of them sitting in a bookshelf. I don't have a coffee table, so I just keep in a bookshelf. But this is one of my favorites, I Dream a World. And it's a collection of portraits of Black women who changed America. And I said, listen, if when we talk history, we want to talk all the history, right? All the history. Like Ruby Dee is in this book, and she's amazing. So we get to talk about the joy. Like Sonia Sanchez is in this book, and then I dug out. I know, and then I dug out my photographs then and now, which is a National Geographic. I don't know how many of you used to get these, but when I was a kid, we used to have a subscription to National Geographic. So we collected them. And so when I saw this in a bookstore one day, I just had to pick it up because the photographs, some of these photographs are of places that no longer exist anymore. Like we are living history. And in some ways, it's important for us to remember that the history that we think of as impermeable and never changing and always written a certain way, well, we know that's not true. Columbus Day used to just be Columbus Day. Now it's Indigenous Peoples Day, right? Like history isn't set in stone. It's written by the victors. But with enough passage of time, the people who were written out of history can write themselves into history. And that's what books like this photo journalism book from National Geographic or I Dream a World. I have several books on the shelf over there. But that's what these kind of books allow us to do, right? They allow people who are written out to come back in and go, we were here too. We did something, and you're not going to just ignore us. So anyway, where are you finding your joy? And this brings me so much joy to talk about because first of all, I love big picture books. I've got one by Jean Baptiste. It's called Nudes. I'm not bringing it over. But I have 25 years of Essence magazine covers in a compilation. Like I love those kinds of coffee table books. They're great for conversation starters, but they're also fun to just flip through and remember and see what life was like. Like I wasn't around with a bunch of the stuff that was happening in, especially the National Geographic book. Oh my gosh, I wasn't even born, right? But to be a photojournalist, to be able to capture some of those amazing moments and snapshot time and then be able to look back from now back to then and go, wow, either that thing is no longer in existence or we're still doing that today. It's just, I don't know. I'm always fascinated by how time is not linear, right? It's just not linear. There are tracks of time that are running parallel all the time. And it's like we're dipping across timelines sometimes as we move forward. We're taking some things, leaving some things behind. It gets very quantum physicsy, but I love it. Anyway, so that's how I found my joy. It's only Tuesday, y'all, and I feel like my joy meter is pretty high. I feel like my joy cup is kind of overflowing with the foray into spices and dyes and history and photographs. So how are you finding your joy this week? What are you doing to fill your joy cup up, your peace well, so that when you dip in, and because you're going to need it, because you know it's only Tuesday, right? So when you dip into your peace well, I don't want you to come out with bitter water. I want you to come out with enough joy and peace in that ladle that you can face whatever it is that you need to face. So how are you? What are y'all up to this week? You know I can talk y'all's ear off. It's just one of those things. Okay, we're pulling the green tea bag. It smells so good. And we're going to strain it so I can put some honey in it so I might be able to drink some of it. Just maybe. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. Hang on. Oh, that's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Oh, I forgot to get myself a little. Just a moment. There. I'm making, if you need uh, inspiration. I was on Cicely's live last week when she was working on tablescapes, and they're amazing. If you got to tune in. If you're into gardening, you're into decorating, and you're into nature, this is the channel. I want you all to go over there and give her some love and get some suggestions. Get some suggestions. Planting mums. I love mums. I do love fall. I do. Going to New Brunswick Shore. Oh, I love that. I'm living vicariously through you right now up there in Canada. First of all, it's probably nice and crisp, whereas down here, it can't decide if it's supposed to be fall or summer. So one day we're almost 90, and the next day we're in our 60s. So by next week, we'll all be sick, is kind of how this is going to work, which is great because that's all we need are the colds of the fall. Okay. We are using our raw honey that we get from Blackberry Hill. Actually, we get it from the commissary, but it's a Missouri honey. So I try to do honey from locally sourced places because the more pollen that I can get from the pollinators that are local, the less likely my allergies are to kick up. So if you don't like honey, you kind of miss out a little bit on that. But if you like honey, try to get it as local as possible. For heaven's sakes, don't buy the honey bears out of the grocery store from halfway across the country. So, all right, we've got honey. Let's do a little stir, stir, stir. And we have tea. Perfect. Give me 2 shakes. Shake 1, shake 2. Here we go. Oh, in the 20s, 30s, or 40s at night. Holy cow. It's been chilly where you are. It is a chillier morning for us. So, I had to grab a shawl because I'm a little chilly. All right, here we go. Perfect. Much better. Okay, so I was thinking about this concept of joy, and one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up, I actually did a whole video on it, it's coming out on Thursday, is because I was on, I think it might have been Threads, I'm going to forget, y'all, but somebody said, a thread, somebody wrote a thread, and it said, the reason that people are struggling so hard right now is, yes, because life is lifing, right? But also because it feels like the joy is being sucked out of the world. Because usually threaded through hard times is usually this vein of joy, this vein of hope that gets people, that people can tap into, right? It's may not be very bright yet, and it may not be very easy to find, but slowly by degrees, people begin to find that vein of hope or joy through hardness. That's really the only way we get through it. It's the human condition, is not to suffer, to just be suffering. We have to have the belief that there's an other side to the suffering, right? And the person was writing that the reason they feel like people are struggling so hard is because it feels like the thread of hope and joy that usually runs through things is so faint to be almost non-existent, and that when you don't have that, what do you hold on to? When you don't have that, what do you tether to in the darkness to help you get back to the light? And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a a lightning bulb moment for someone whose whole mission, or whole mantra, not our whole mission, is your peace is non-negotiable. You have to tether yourself to your peace, because that is the only thing that you have that you can control, is your state of mind, your state of heart, your state of spirit, right? And so I was thinking about that. I was like, we're building something little bit by little bit, brick by brick, but something important in a world that feels like someone threw the shade on the lamp, and it's real dim right now. And because of that, people aren't necessarily remembering that there's light underneath that dimness. Like there's a bulb under there that eventually is probably going to set that little blanket on fire, because, bulbs are hot. But most importantly is the idea that when people forget that history is cyclical, and that what goes around comes around, even in the darkest moments, what goes around comes around. When we forget that we're just we're a blip in the historical wheel. This book, out of all the books that I have, this um, National Geographic photograph books probably underscores that so much because I happen to be looking through it and there are images of the Middle East, images that don't exist anymore, places that are no longer there. But this book is full of images from like 1970s, 1980s. It's 2025. These images are still relevant because history is cyclical, right? What goes up comes down, what goes down comes up. And so I was thinking about how are we finding a way to tether ourselves to joy you cannot see? How do you find your way to tether yourself to a joy that isn't readily apparent, that isn't right there in your face? And I thought, we drink tea on Tuesdays. We talk about tablescapes and photographs and dyes. We remind ourselves that we're still here, that we have each other, that we're lifting our boats higher out of the mess, right? And we give ourselves permission to enjoy ourselves, because I think that's part of what the problem is with that threader is people get really mad when you're enjoying yourselves. They get really upset these days if you find and express joy in ways that negates the horrors that they're going through. Because I was watching, okay, y'all, I watch kitten and puppy videos when I need a break, when my mental tank is like, listen, I've read enough, I've graded enough. Whew, child. So I will go down the rabbit hole of fun things, not bad things, fun things. So I've been watching the Westminster Dog Show has the agility the little agility course that the dogs can do. They time the course and they go through their little tunnels and then they go up and down the ladders and all that kind of stuff, right? So I've been watching some of those because they popped up into my YouTube feed, right? Partially because I like dogs and I like animals. I like pets in general. I have animals in general. So I'll watch animal stuff. So YouTube's like, oh, let me show you some of these. Anyway, so there's this bulldog. He's this big old lumbering thing, this big old lumpy thing, right? And he gets out on this agility course. And the commentators are like, oh, it's an English bulldog. It's, we're expecting he's just gonna run, he's just gonna do the little course and his little legs are not gonna go very fast. That whistle went off. That dog took off. And the commentators were like, oh my go. And he's just running and he's just going and he goes up the ladder and he the legs down the ladder and he shoots through the tube when he comes out. And then he gets to those, I don't know what they're called, but they have to weave through them. There are these sticks, there's these sticks in the ground in a line, and the dogs have to weave in and out of them in a line. Like they can't miss one. So he gets there and he slows down. He's like, I'll do it, but I don't really want to. But he gets through it and he just kind of meanders his way through these little sticks. And then he gets out and then he takes off for the next tunnel. Under this video, which is just nothing but pure fun. Like seriously. It's an English bulldog running an agility course. It is pure fun. He's having a blast. His tongue's hanging out. He gets to the end. He's jumping up and down. Under this video, these sad, sad people are having a field day. Oh, look what they're doing to that dog, and this is terrible, and dog shows are horrifying. It's hard in these moments to remember what the internet is supposed to be. Well, not the internet. The internet is separate. What social media is supposed to be, which is a place to find people who like things that you like, to connect with people who have similar interests for things that you like, or who are wanting to do the things that you want to do. Because so many people find joy in their day in tearing down everything. Some of the people under this comment section were talking about the dog was too fat, the dog shows are just breeding grounds for elitism, and it was just crazy. It was literally just crazy. And it got me to thinking that people have a love affair with um, negativity, right? People have a true love affair and feel most alive when the world is darkest. People feel most alive when the world around them feels the darkest, because into that darkness, they can feel like they have the right to then just be dark themselves. They just do. And it's like, right, exactly. You said it, misery. People like being miserable. And that leads me back to the joy comment on Threads. The feeling like there's no joy left in the world. And I think the reason it feels that way is because so much of social media is this echo chamber of misery. Like, we know that there are systemic problems in the world. There've always been systemic problems in the world. Are they worse right now? Yes, because history says anytime a civilization is coming to its end, things get bad. Life gets hard for the people underneath that civilization. It is a fact. It repeats itself over and over and over again. If the recorded history has taught us nothing, it's that when civilizations start to collapse, the world starts to collapse with them. But in their collapse, another civilization is rising. A new way of being is entering the world. Death, rebirth. Oldest time, right? Oldest time. We know that. It's coming. It happens. This is new. But there's also the Holly Festival, where they're throwing paintballs at each other. There's the Westminster Dog Show, where little fat bulldogs are running on their little fat legs. And it's just having a grand time being free to run. It's videos about watching someone create beautiful blue dyes in the hills of China out of whatever flower it is that they're creating, this amazing indigo color, right? Because that's the name of it is indigo. Sorry. It's all of these places where joy is present in the chaos that I wish people could respond to and not decide, oh, you can't be joyful. You don't have the option to be joyful. Why should you be allowed to be joyful? I'm miserable, so you should be miserable too. Listen. What we're not going to do at our big ages is allow anyone to steal our peace or our joy, because we've earned the right to be joyful. Even if the world is collapsing around us, we've still earned the right to be joyful because we've endured a whole lot more and will continue to endure a whole lot more. And into that, as I said to my son yesterday when we were talking about history and some of the hardships, I said, but remember, baby boy, you're here because your ancestors made it. Your ancestors made, all of us are here because our ancestors made it. We're living proof that history continues to endure, and that is always going to be something to feel joyful about, right? That's always going to be something to feel joyful about. There's this old movie called Dog Show. There's a movie called Best in Show with, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the actors, full of famous actors as well. So I will check out Dog Show, but you should check out Best in Show. It's a spoof on dog shows. It's so funny. So funny. So funny. We can be the joy individually. Exactly. Like, we can be the joy that we are looking for in the world. And on Thursday, if you watch my Thursday videos, I talk about that this week. If you can't find your joy, go help somebody else find theirs. And I guarantee you that you'll find yours. Right? So because this is how my brain works, I was like, I love this color, and where does one go to make this color? And so then a video pops up and I'm like, maybe I need to take a trip to China and watch them make this color in person. What am I doing trying to go to China? It's of all kinds of craziness, right? But there is a reason that joy shows up for us. It is to remind us that the slice of the world that we're standing in might feel unstable or hard, but there's a whole world where people are doing other things. They're doing other things. The world does not grow, collapse, die, and regrow the same all over the place, right? We don't experience it all the same. And it's okay if you're not experiencing it the way other people are, as long as you find your joy in it and wherever that joy may take you. Yes, ma'am, we are following rule number 1 to the end. Hey, Amy, welcome to the party. Oh, okay, so that was Best in Show. Okay. Yes, I saw that movie when it came out because I love the dog shows. I love the dog shows. And probably it's because I know dog owners who show their dogs, and man, those dogs have a good life. Like they have a exceptionally good life. I mean, at least the ones that I knew, the owners that I knew, those dogs were. I mean, they were pets. They were part of the family, but they were also like they had groomers and doctors and their own and their own coaches. Like it was crazy. It's a crazy industry, right? And it might be elitist, and it might be outside the realm of others' reality. But what it is it exists in the world. And those dogs, the ones that I know, are really happy little animals. And their owners are like, they can show and be happy, but when they come home, they're just my baby, right? They feel just like my mom feels about her dog, her little dogs, her little babies. They're her babies. Does she show them? No, but they're her babies. So I don't know. Those dogs, I'm telling you, I know some of these. I know a few people who show their dogs. I'm just like, your dog has what now? The life of a show dog. Let me tell you, the life of a show dog. All right, so I am talking y'all's ear off, and y'all are continuing to let me talk. Y'all know that I will talk. Oh yeah, because some of those dogs are just having so much fun. I love the cat shows too. The cats are a whole nother like they're not cooperating with anybody. They're like, listen, I'm here, touch me once and I'm gonna bite you. Right? Don't even try it. Agility course, we are agile. We are the agility course. I love the cat shows, but the cat shows are very different from the dog shows. The dogs are just happy to be at the show. The cats are like, call me when it's over. Call me when this is done. Call me when you got my trophy for me. All right. I want you to thank you, ma'am. It's kind of what I do. It's what I do. I want you to find your joy today. I want you to find a way to stop in a moment of joy and go, this is what she was talking about. I feel joy. I'm experiencing the feeling of elation that comes when serotonin rises and cortisol falls. Right? I want you to stand in that today and remember what it feels like. Because I do think that Threader is onto something. I do think that we're losing our connection to the joy because there's just so much of the not so joyful. So I challenge you this week to stand in your joyful moments so that they get bigger and stronger and they become a shield against the other stuff. Right? They become a place that you go, my muscle memory of joy needs some work. So I'm gonna go ahead and work it this week. Cats cats are awesome. Cats have staff. That's exactly right. Cats are like, listen, do you have my treats? Dogs are like, treat, treat, treat. Cats are like, do you have a treat? Because if you don't, I'm not moving. Whereas dogs are like, I will sit here and love you until you give me a treat. Cats are like, I don't even like that treat. What's wrong with you? I don't even like that kind of treat. I'll take it, but you better do better next time. Cats are hysterical, just hysterical. Yes, this is a moment of joy that I hope we can all take with us as we go out into the rest of the day, into the rest of the week, into the rest of the month. Halloween's coming. I love the holidays at this time of year. They're a lot of fun. We're gonna be start decorating the house, so you're gonna see some things going up in the background as we begin to embrace fall, even though fall's not trying to embrace us. Thank you all for hanging out with me. As always, I'm going to go drink this tea that's finally not scalding hot. And I wish all of you joy in the rest of your day. Carolyn, take some pictures of that wildlife if you happen to run across any that make you go, oh, I like that. And everyone else, thank you for joining me. Go out and find your joy today. And I will see you on Thursday if you hang out and want to talk more about joy. There's a video coming. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.